everybody. Welcome to the Essential Scares podcast. And unfortunately for all of you, I am still your host for now, Alan. And with me, as always, is my good friend Bobby.
Good evening.
Why you gotta meme me like that, man? You gotta just do me like that? First you get Corbin last week, and now you get me this week?
No one's safe. No one's safe.
In the cage with you? Was that
exactly,
okay?
Yeah.
Good. I wanted to be sure we were on the same page here.
Next Saturday at the pay-per-view.
So on this episode, this week of the show, we have the sequel that no one asked for, See No Evil 2. Gonna be a wonderful little time here, but before we get into anything proper, Bobby has a spoiler warning for us.
I do. This will serve as your first one and only spoiler warning for the film starring fake Diesel Kane, See No Evil 2. If you do not want this movie spoiled for you, please skip to the time code provided in our show notes or descriptions for our essential spoiler-free discussion. Fun fact about See No Evil 2. This movie allegedly is supposed to take place in 2006, which is the perfect time setting for this movie because that was the only time in which people still thought Kane was scary. Alan.
Absolutely. Especially considering this film released in 2014 as well.
And they're very clearly just like in modern shit. Like they got like smartphones and shit. Like
they don't even attempt it.
The last movie had Kane shoving a flip phone, no, not even a flip phone, like a fucking brick Nokia down a woman's throat. And like they're just like, same night, sure, whatever. Fuck you.
Smartphones over here.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. This movie, as fucked as it is, starts as all good sequels to shitty movies do, in a morgue, where you've got the guy who clearly likes Amy. He clearly likes the girl. He's liked her for however long she's worked there, and he never has the...
Amy's the main character until she's not.
Yeah. Exactly. Until there's a knife in her chest, and then she's just, nope, never mind. But yeah, they clearly have a connection, and she's going to go out and party with her friends, and then she doesn't because, well, the events of the first movie happen, and they have to bring like 9 bodies to the morgue, so they got to work overtime. But her friends being great friends bring the party to them, which also just happens to coincide with the resurrection of a dead man in the form of Jacob Goodnight, also known as Kane, also known as Fake Diesel, also known as Dr. Yankum.
Dr. Isaac Yankum, DDS, and also, as we all know, dirty penis having, Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
And from there, you know exactly what happens. People die, it's dumb, and they progressively, snake their way. Let's open it from here.
Why do they reshow the dirty penis?
Why
do they reshow the dirty penis?
This movie felt a lot like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and where it's like, oh, you haven't seen the first one? Let me show you, like, half the film.
Of course you haven't. Like...
Exactly. It's like, we assume you haven't seen the first movie, and rightfully so, for probably a good chunk of the audience. Well, I don't know about that. I feel like the likelihood of someone to watch See No Evil 2, they have to have seen See No Evil, right?
No, so keep in mind, 2014... is well within the PG era of WWE, right? So See No Evil 1 was in the Ruthless Aggression era, which is like an in between. It was like on the way to the PG era, but not quite there. They were still doing some Attitude Era stuff. This is just background information, right? So like John Cena was becoming the head of the company and ended up becoming the head of the company around See No Evil 1. I think he was like in the title picture for like I think he was having his big feud with Edge at this time, right?
He had developed his finishing move, but not the submission one that I don't remember the name of.
No, the FU was turned into the Attitude Adjustment, and then it was the STFU, which I think just turned into the STF, which was something else. Yes. Because the PG, it was the FU and the STFU, right? And they turned it into something else because it, PG era. So it was still the FU at the time, right?
Okay, got it. Good.
That was 2006. 2014, we jumped to this era. That's like straight PG. Everything is PG, right? Like
shows in this film.
And so I think a good portion of this is really because of that. Like, it's like nobody would have watched See No Evil 1. And like, let's try to get away from all of the weird sexism that we had in See No Evil. Because this movie tries its best to wipe away the Vince McMahon 2006 filth with just polish of just like, everybody's nice.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the characters are, like, immediately more likable than our first batch of characters. Like, you know, that's one thing I can definitively say I did enjoy about this is, like, at least I didn't just, like, hate every single one of these people.
It's a different era of horror. Like, they're just as poorly written, but, like...
Oh, absolutely.
2000, like early 2000s horror, every character was immediately unlikable, and that was, like, the point, right? Mm-hmm. And, like, 2014 is, like that's a different era of horror. Like, we have to make characters likable again, right? And it's like they weren't, but they were trying to be. Like,
I don't know. Holden was nice. He was fine. You know, the more he's a little weird, but he's in a wheelchair and works in a morgue. I mean, I feel like that kind of sets you up to be at least a little strange of some kind.
Some Ginger Snaps is in it.
Oh,
speaking of. Tamara, the super annoying chick. Yeah, she's like, I guess technically the villain in Ginger Snaps.
The borderline necrophiliac in this film.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She wants to fuck the corpse of Knoxville
with his dirty dick.
Yeah. But yeah, like, so again, going back to it, right? So they go have this party, and Amy and Seth are like, yeah, what's up? And then I think Amy's brother Will,
such an asshole.
Yeah, it's like, by the way, you don't want to work at a fucking morgue. You want to be a coroner's assistant, which is a decent living, by the way. Like, or maybe and I think Seth might just be a coroner, like, because he's like doing all of the coronary work. Like, like so, like the dude's a like legit doctor, and he's like, yeah.
He specifically pulls Zach to the side, and Will's like, Amy deserves someone who can give her more.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you, dude.
The dude's a coroner. Like that's like a real job, man. Like
this man does a public service.
Yeah. And so he runs and goes and starts doing autopsies, and Amy's really sad about that and screams about it. And then Amy's best friend, I'm looking at the cast list at this point, Kayla, wants to fuck, was down bad for Will, and they want to try to they want to try to bone down. Now, meanwhile, Tamara and unnamed boyfriend, I forget the dude's name.
I don't remember his name.
Are hitting on Holden, and then Holden tells him, "Oh yeah, Jacob Goodnight, who is dead from the last movie, is on a slab somewhere, and you want to go check out that dead body." And then they go, "Yeah, let's go fuck on top of that dead body." So then they go, and then they go fuck up next to the dead body.
Yeah.
Which wakes up Jacob Goodnight because, as we've learned from the last movie, he doesn't like premarital sex
at all. Not a fan of it at all.
But Alan, you mentioned something.
Yes.
That is decidedly missing from this movie.
What would that be?
So this movie is called See No Evil 2.
Yep.
And there was a plot point for why it was called See No Evil in the first movie. Oh, that's very great. The killer, Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs,
got it,
plucks the eyes out of his victims.
Oh, okay. Because there's sin in there, right?
The sin is in the eyes. I believe and they show the scene.
Yeah.
In this movie, like several times of Jacob Goodnight being like getting like forcingly getting his eyes washed out, saying like the sin is in the eyes, the sin is in the eyes. And you know what they don't do in this movie even a single time? Pluck out an eye.
It's ridiculous. It's
ridiculous.
Like imagine you watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and there's no fucking chainsaws. Like it's in the title for a reason. And you're not like doing this ironic thing. Like that's not the point here. It's the whole, like, I want to see eyes come out.
No, Yeah.
I'm not asking for much.
This movie, and just second note here, really quick. This movie could have had double the body count.
Absolutely.
They're in a hospital.
Yeah.
They're in a hospital, and like, I've never once in my entire life seen a hospital empty at any point in time.
Yeah.
Any point in time. And I've like stayed overnight in hospitals several times, right? Both for myself and for other people. There's always someone around on every floor.
This was empty. It's a small town where a bunch of murders happened. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's like there's just it. So before we got started properly recording, something I mentioned was this film is objectively better, but I think I like it less.
Yes,
and that is going to be very weird to determine a score on this later when we get to that, because it's like I cannot deny that this is a better shot film.
Yeah,
there's better acting.
Yes.
Even though it's not great in this either, but it's better than what we saw in the first one. But like any of the charm that there was just like, it just didn't have any of it.
Kane is simultaneously more distinct and more generic at the same time in a very weird way.
Yeah.
And they could not wait to put a mask on his stupid fucking face again.
And then he takes it off like 2 seconds later, too.
He doesn't. There's no reason for him to have it on.
No,
it does nothing.
Yeah, it just
like
it
makes him look slightly more scary,
I guess. But I mean, like, I don't know. He's a tall enough dude with a bullet hole in the back of his skull. Like, that's already scary enough. Like, you really don't need a whole lot more than that. I mean, I will say him walking around and like you hear the chain as he's like spinning it up. Like this. There's a few moments where it's like, there's something here. Like specifically Holden dying. Holden dying is probably the best and scariest moment of the film. So, this man's in a wheelchair. He has no feeling in his legs.
Yeah, it's a cool little moment. Yeah.
They make a joke about that earlier in the film.
Yeah.
And Kane finds him first and throws a chain into his leg. And he makes a face like there is a pressure somewhere. And then sees he's got a chain in his leg.
Oh no, it's not even that. He can't crawl forward anymore. He's stuck. Yeah.
And he just pulls him on in. And it's like, okay, that works. Now you don't get any sort of like coup de grace on it, which it's like, again, this is why this is a horror film. Like if you're gonna
a really cool moment, right? You don't even give him the coup de grace. She sees him halfway around the corner, right? And she goes to get him, and half of him's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Half of him's just gone.
That would work really well.
Yeah, it would have been awesome. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, man, there's like, it's going to be like his entrails is going to be all down there. No, it didn't happen. He just like, and he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's like, it's like, yes. Like, it doesn't be better acted. So, like, you're feeling it a little bit. But it's like,
Yeah, it just doesn't. It just doesn't.
More gray though.
Yeah,
I think. Right.
Well, I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, we get to see multiple eyes pulled out of sockets in the first film, and like we see the chain in Holden's leg. The one girl, Kayla, is strung up, which is slightly gory. I mean,
you get to see the throat slit. And, like, I think she gets her head chopped off afterwards.
That one's pretty good. Although, like, when I watched that, I was like, why didn't he just chop her whole head off? This is Kane. This is a massive man. If there's anyone who's going to, like, have an incredibly sharp, medical-grade equipment,
he's broken through, like, 12 to 15 doors at this point.
Exactly.
Which makes the one door he can't break through incredibly funny. Because like this is no one's getting through that. No one's getting through that. And then he immediately busts through it. And then 45 minutes later they go and they like lock the cell door and he's just like, I
can't figure it out. The security door with a metal frame and locks and it's just a piece of steel. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you notice initially, and I have to imagine this was not intentional, when they're just showing him laying on the gurney, you could totally see him breathing. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, part of me is like, if this movie was more self-aware, that I would say that's intentional. It was not. There's no shot that it was intentional to be like, oh, I see what's happening here. No, not at all.
No, not even a little bit. No.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. He has a weird, like, mid-movie identity crisis, too.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? I liked it. I thought it was very funny. But, like, he's just like, no, I won't kill anymore. And then the woman who's already, like, basically crushed her windpipe, she's like, oh, thank God. And then he looks at her and goes, God would never save you, you whore.
It just, this movie, like, just, you are on a ride with this film, because it just, this movie is whiplash. You just are constantly like, what the fuck what is happening here? Why is this like it is?
And every time you think, you know what's going to happen next.
Oh,
it happens, but in such a weird way that you did, okay, so they're going to kill Will, right? Will's not surviving this. And then they go find Will, and it's like, okay, so Will's, like, going to be, like, fucked up. And then Will's fine. It's like, okay, so how are they going to kill Will, right? Because clearly he's going to get, like, chopped up. And then fucking the 7-foot-tall giant, quote-unquote, Kane is hiding under a table with a turkey cutter and just goes...
I want you to think through that sequence again, listeners. 7-foot-tall man. The table's like 4 feet up, maybe, and he takes a turkey cutter, basically, punctures it through a steel bed to then kill Will.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Cool effect. It's a really cool effect, but, like, there's just a part of me, because they never show the bottom of the table, but there's a part of me who knows Knoxville County Mayor Glenn Jacobs' little feet are hanging out the edge of the table.
And he's just giggling underneath there, like,
I'm going to kill this guy. I'm going to kill him so good.
And we never even really see what happened to the boyfriend guy. He's just dead.
Yeah, he just gets, like... Yeah, they do a lot of that, like, where they just cut away, and then they just show, like, a... like, corpse with, like, blood on it. Like...
This movie, again, blue-balled us, though, Bobby.
How so?
No fucking choke slam.
Ooh.
When they so easily could have done it.
Yeah.
Think of any of the kill. Like, they could have knocked it out at the very beginning with the boyfriend. Just have him, like, literally pick him up and slam him, and his skull explodes.
Yeah.
It writes itself.
This movie knew it was not meant to be, like, this movie knows it's over the top. This movie knows it's overacting. Like, so, like, why? Why not?
I mean, what's even more frustrating is, like, they do a wrestling move when he like at the end when Seth is getting away. Oh yeah, Seth's actually the main character. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Where he, like, throws him like fucking almost. I thought he was about to suplex him, just straight suplex him, but then he just throws him into a wall, and I'm like, well, yeah, you know.
I don't think Kane could do a suplex at that time. I don't know if Kane could ever do a suplex, but he definitely couldn't do it then.
It'd be hard for him just with how small people are compared to him. Like, think about that. This man is huge, so, like, for him to, like, actually, whatever, it would be a lot more difficult. But yeah, so this whole movie, it's all about Amy, all about her and her friends. They're coming. A killer's been found. They're desperately trying to get away. It comes down to just Amy and Seth because of fucking course it did. We all knew it was going to happen because that's
Seth was out. Seth at this point, I think, when she was trying to protect him after Will died and got, like, gashed, and they had to cauterize the wound. It was a whole moment.
Yeah.
And they go outside for a second, and they don't run away, and it doesn't make fucking sense.
Oh, you see, he was in the parking lot, Bobby.
So go another way.
But the car was where he was, Bobby.
So go another way.
I can't. I need a car to escape, though. I mean, look how good that did Seth, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, so this whole time they have this good moment. She's like, "When are you gonna ask me out?" or some shit. Like, honestly, their moment.
I think you're gonna ask me out with $5 left in your pocket. It was a cute moment. It was cute. Their back and forth was endearing. I actually kind of liked Seth as a character for the most of the movie. I liked Seth and Amy. I liked their back and forth. You wanted to see them succeed. Yeah,
I was a little worried Seth was going to have that, like, creepy guy at work energy, but, like, he really was just, like, a genuine dude who clearly did like her, and he just, he couldn't find a way to ask her, and then he finally, kissed her, and then she got stabbed in the chest.
Just through a wall. Through a fucking wall.
She kind of walked into it when you think about it. In a weird
Kane was just sitting there with his, like, I'll just wait. They're coming.
I know they're coming. This is the only door that's open.
I'm gone fishing.
Well, and like, the other thing too is he busts through the wall, and then Seth has like this whole moment of Amy is dead in his arms before he, and it's like he's right there.
Yeah, and then Kane Kool-Aid Man through the wall. I'm just like, you bastard. And then. Fuck. God damn it, man. Oh my god. And we haven't talked about how Tamara is the most annoying fucking character.
We
just
can't.
like, I thought, and she's like, oh god. She's just like this. She's so neurotic. Yeah,
oh my god.
Hyper neurotic. This is somebody who is like, this is somebody who on set, everyone's like, dude, this is so funny. You are so funny. And like everybody unironically believed it. And it does not. And I believe probably she was cracking people up on set, right?
Oh yeah,
it is goofy, but like it does not translate well. It doesn't. Like
no, because like she's like she almost is a Flanderization of that character. Like it's just so far. Like every horror movie has some kind of variation of this, and she was just like, what if? What if we just make that character even more over the top and ridiculous? And that's what we do. It's just, and also like the moment she's on the screen, you're like, okay, well, that's that character. I know she's going to die.
Yeah.
Now, granted, her death was cool. Like the throat cut on her was good, but like,
but also like kind of dumb.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Because like he was run, go, and then she run like because she's like
front. Oh my god!
Yeah, she's on the opposite of the room, and then she runs around the table next to him so he can yeah,
that was definitely one of those. As it was happening, I'm like, what?
Like a cool thing that could have been done is he could have thrown it. Get it into the chop thing where she gets thrown up against the wall and it gets her, and then the head stays there and the body slumps down.
Yeah,
it's probably more like again, it's a harder effect, but like that makes it make more sense because like I can't actually reach you, but I'm still big scary man.
Yeah,
and then you don't feel bad for Keith for telling her to run when like clearly he was like setting her up for her own death. Oh, other thing I wanted to mention that I said I was gonna. How is it that everybody in this movie looks younger than the juvenile delinquents of the last movie? Like I punched my microphone last episode. You know if you listen to the last episode, so you didn't get to hear me say it out loud. Every one of the juvenile delinquents in the last movie looked like they were fucking 40, and everyone in the movie looks like they're in there. Like even Holden, who is like the old man, looks younger than one of the surviving characters of the first movie.
Absolutely. They all, like, you look at them and you go, you guys are all late 20s, early 30s. Holden is probably 40. Maybe 30.
Maybe. Yeah, mid-30s for him.
He looks a little weathered. But, like, it's appropriate. Like, you don't just go, these are clearly adults. And this is terrible. Ugh.
Playing 17-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. So did you think at the end of the film that Amy was still going to be alive and they were going to get their happy ending? Because I definitely thought that's what they were going to do for a split second there.
Oh, like after she got stabbed?
Yeah. Because I was like, hey, she didn't get stabbed that far into her chest, right? No, she.
No, I was like, okay. Well, no, this is so like when she got stabbed, I was like, whatever. And then when the movie didn't end, I was like, oh fuck, Keith's dead. Yeah,
Exactly.
Keith's dead. Okay, that's whatever. All right, get to it. Come on. And then they spend like 10 fucking minutes being like, dum, 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 and they show just like all the bodies and shit. It's like, okay, let's get to it. All right, yeah, I know what's gonna happen. Yeah. Like, and then they try to like make it scary because like the back door was open of the car, and it's like, yeah, I know, whatever. Like
a 7-foot tall man in your back seat.
Back seat, yeah. How are you not looking? I look in the backseat of my car on evenings normally. Do you think most evenings? Yeah, I'm not going to look after I just maybe murdered a definite dead man with formaldehyde?
Yeah.
Like, what makes you think that was going to work?
Yeah, nothing else has.
Yeah.
The dude fell how far? You've seen his injuries. You were the fucking coroner.
You're the coroner.
You know what happened to him, and he's alive. Ugh. That was a cool sequence, though, of him pumping him with formaldehyde. Like that was I was like, okay, this is cool. This is a good.
It's a fun little gross out moment, but also, I like that. Like he's just sitting there looming over him. He's like, yeah, well, and then he says whatever fucking dumb punchline and stabs him with it, and like, fucking Kane never even lifts the weird machete. Like, it's incredibly stupid. Cause I'm like, you're taking too long. Stab the guy, right? Like chop him up.
But he just doesn't. He just gets pumped, and then formaldehyde pumps out of his eye. Also,
which is very, very cool.
Probably the best effect of the whole film.
And it gives a weird cleaning, because formaldehyde cleans and the body, so it gives the cleaning of the eye socket, cleaning of the eyes. It's a cool little. It's the one piece of honestly art. If this movie was good, that scene could still exist. Because it's a little fun piece of artistry in what is otherwise just schlocky McSchlockstein.
I have a question for you, Bobby.
I hopefully have an answer.
What is the message that this film and films are sending?
What's the message that this film is sending?
What is this film saying to us?
That Kane is scary. Yep, that's it. That's about it. Yeah. That this cool wrestler who's known for being scary. He's scary. Yeah. Also, I think that there's because there's nothing else to this movie. There is no message to this movie. No. The first movie, I think is trying to tell you that I think there is a message there, and I think that's kind of going against religious purity, which I think is something that Vince McMahon and his very much America fuck yeah type shit. I think he is not a big fan of religious purity. I think that's something that he's that
would definitely check with especially any of the Attitude Era of female wrestling.
Think about Stone Cold 3:16, right? Yeah. You thump your Bible and you sing your songs and you say John 3:16. Well, Stone Cold 3:16 says that his kick whoops your ass. That is one of the most famous promos after the King of the Ring ever. Yeah, so I think there's something there in the original one, but it's not very clear.
No, it just seemed like an excuse. I feel like it almost had to be Kane was I would like to make dollars. Yeah. Let's do a sequel to this shitty movie I did 8 years ago.
I'm very curious. It's movies like this that nobody watches that makes me go, I sincerely wonder what was the idea behind this movie? What was the point? Right? Because it might have been, all right, I'm not fit enough to wrestle full time anymore, but you still have me under contract. What if I just do this movie for you? And they're like, yes, but Glenn, we don't have a movie for you. And he said, no problem. We'll just make a sequel to See No Evil.
Remember that movie we did 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Let's just turn one around real quick, and we'll make it work.
It'll be a tax write-off.
That's probably all that it was, honestly. Like, 'cause this movie can't have been expensive. Like,
No.
It can't have been. There was hardly any effects. There was no. I don't know that there was. I mean, there was CGI of some kind, but like.
Yeah. The CGI. The CGI was in the blood, which like it's cheaper than practical effects to do CGI shit like that.
Cool, and it works fine.
It's pretty bad. The CGI kill for Tomorrow is pretty bad.
I liked it. I just wanted more.
Fun. It was fun, but it could have been cooler.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah.
That's the problem. Is all of these kills, minus I think Will's is actually pretty fun.
Yeah,
and like because it's in its goofiness.
Yeah, and that one feels like the most practical out of all of them. You know,
probably yeah.
Like because that's not terribly tough to do. Like you get a body, you stab something through. Like that's about as straightforward as it gets. We did that shit in fucking Friday the 13th Part 1. Like.
But it was really cool when they did it in Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, this was Friday the 13th Part 1. Kevin Bacon. This was not.
Not at all.
This was not effects by Tom Savini.
No, not even close.
But this movie is very bad. But how bad is it?
Now, if I was gonna answer that question, I'd be using a scale. That is, say, 1 to 5 with half points allowed.
So you're already wrong because the reality is it'd be 0 to 5.
That's correct.
Points allowed.
Okay, yeah. Couldn't I do quarters?
Unfortunately, much like you say, the scale started with 1. That would be incorrect. Quarter points are right out. 8th points, don't even think about it. 16th points, yeah.
What about
16th point?
Can I have 32nd points?
Go fuck yourself.
That's fair. Okay. What's frustrating about this specific movie is if we did give quarter points, I would give this a 1.25. Easy. 100%. Yeah. This is like the most... It's objectively better as a film, so I have to rate it higher than the first one, but I by no means really enjoyed it more. But I just can't deny. So it's a 1.5 because it is the smallest margin I can increase the value by to still satisfy our scale. It's weird because like I'm halfway through this film and I'm so conflicted because I'm like, I know this is better, but I'm not enjoying this movie like at all.
I understand.
It just doesn't do anything, and it doesn't do anything too terribly different from the first one, minus having characters that I don't hate and some acting that is at least passable as a film. For sure. So 1.5 out of 5.
See, I hear you, and in fact, I agree on all merits. But the score, because this is receiving a Bobby 2 out of 5.
Oh no!
This movie is objectively a well-shot movie. This movie is objectively fairly well acted. This movie is objectively a movie, but it is completely and utterly soulless and goofy in a very weird way. This movie is utterly forgettable, but not a Bobby 2.5 out of 5 where it's like, yeah, I experienced it. There was a Bobby 2, which is like, it's not good. But there are moments where I was like, yeah, it's pretty funny. Like, so Bobby 1.5, it ain't going to happen, right? This movie does not serve